Senate Republicans have now introduced a new skinny bill proposal called Safe to Work Act, and larger stimulus package negotiation is still undergoing, and new updates are rolling in for the unemployment benefit. My name is Sam Kwok, one of the Kwok Brothers. Welcome back to your next stimulus check update. This is September 9th, 2020. Here is your next stimulus check update. So first thing we gotta hit, and something that's major right now, is the Senate side Republican proposal called the Safe to Work Act. So what is part of the proposal? Well, the proposal is totaling $300 billion, which is originally smaller than $500 billion proposal from the last skinny bill proposal. So here are the major items that are on the bill. There's 70 pages, but I want to give you guys the highlights because, of course, who's got time to read 70 pages? So the first thing is the unemployment check of $300 a week will now be increased on top of the FEMA funding since the expiration in July. Now remember, the unemployment benefit, the original CARES Act unemployment benefit, expired back in July, and that was a $600 a week unemployment benefit. Well, the new stimulus package, the Safe to Work Act, will retroactively renew the CARES Act version of the unemployment check, but the amount will be down to $300. Now, what's interesting and something you need to note is that with the FEMA funding of President Trump's memorandum and the executive order, that essentially makes it $600 a week for about 3 to 5 weeks, and then the $300 a week will be applied throughout the end of the year. So this is very good news if you are collecting the unemployment benefit check right now, which means that if this bill were to get passed on the Senate and the House and ultimately signed by President Trump, you would retroactively get paid $300 a week, which ultimately means that you get $300 a week retroactively starting August until the end of the year, on top of the FEMA-funded President Trump's executive order unemployment check extension. So that's very good news if you are collecting unemployment check and if you've been taking that benefit as well. Second round of Paycheck Protection Program is part of the second stimulus package as well. Now, there's some changes in addition to the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, the Paycheck Protection Program is for small businesses that have significantly lost 25 to 50% of revenue loss, but they can now include, for the purpose of funding, they can now include looting expenses, so damages from looting, of course, sanitation, ventilators, and streamlined forgiveness are now also included in the second round of Paycheck Protection Program. Now, this is a direct response to what's happening lately due to looting and damages from protests, but also an increased demand and expenses for ventilators, masks, hand sanitizers, and barriers. So the new proposal, the Paycheck Protection Program, will now cover also funding and expenses for these items, and that's part of the Safe to Work Act proposed by the Senate Republicans. Additionally, 2 years of tax credit for homeschooling is also included. So it is recognized that a lot of people can't send their kids to school because schools are closing and schools are not opening up. The new proposal will include a 2 years of tax credit, which means money directly to taxpayers in your pocket for homeschooling expenses. There's $20 billion allocated to farmers, USDA to be exact, and liability protection. There's a new item when it comes to liability protection. Now, for those who don't know what a liability protection is and the context of how this applies to the stimulus package, let's say you went to a restaurant, you dined, you had a great time, and you came back, and a couple days later, you developed symptoms of coronavirus 19. Now, it's possible that you got the COVID-19 from the restaurant and maybe you choose to sue them. Now, with this liability protection, you have to have reasons and evidence to how the restaurant contributed to the fact that you got COVID-19. So you have to prove that the restaurant willingly gave you COVID-19, or maybe they threw some COVID-19 sauce on top of your fish or steak, right? Whatever the case might be. Maybe you got COVID-19 from the restaurant, maybe not. So liability protection makes it harder for individuals to sue hospitals, restaurants, businesses, because they think they got COVID-19 from those types of institutions. Now, the new change is that if you believe that you got COVID from work, you must provide a list of every place that you went, every person that you've interacted within the last 2 weeks, both inside and outside of your home, during and prior to the 14 days of symptoms appearing. So this makes it obviously harder for you to sue your employers because you think you got COVID-19 from your work. So that's an additional change to the liability protection. Again, this is all just a proposal. It's not a law, but if it's signed by the Senate and the U.S. House and ultimately signed by the president, then it becomes a law and it must be enforced. Now, a few more items included in this skinny bill proposal is funding for the post office, which is about $10 billion for post office, and additional funding for testing so that we can slow down and stop the spread of COVID-19, which part of the good news is that the cases for COVID-19 has been declining here in the United States. So that's a very good news, and hopefully it will continue to decline and we can completely eradicate COVID-19 so that we can all go back to somewhat of a normal and enjoy our life. Chuck Schumer says that this bill will not pass and the GOP Republicans need to go back to the drawing board. Now, again, this is just a skinny bill. The larger stimulus package negotiation is still being negotiated between Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi versus Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin. So again, a larger stimulus package may be under play, but right now the skinny bill will be introduced by the Senate tomorrow and there will be a voting happening. Whether it gets passed or not, we have to yet to find out. Now, the cost of the bill, again, just a reminder, is $300 billion, and this is due to the fact that much of the funding is being reallocated from the CARES Act, funding that wasn't used, right? I mean, if you have money that's just sitting around and it's not being used, might as well throw it into the next stimulus bill so that we don't have to use new money to be able to fund and provide stimulus to the economy. So that is a stimulus skinny bill. Again, we'll provide you guys with updates as far as what's happening. Is it going to get passed? Is it going to go through U.S. House? Will President Trump sign on this? We don't know. So we'll provide you guys updates, which means you definitely have to subscribe and stay tuned to the next update. So what's not part of the stimulus bill package, and why is it so? So what's not part of the package is student loan forgiveness and no assistance. But however, President Trump did pass and sign a memorandum that says that student loan payments and interest will be deferred till the end of the year, which means that any student loans that you have held by the government is 0% interest till December 31st, 2020. Now, I've been saying this quite a bit in our videos. If you have student loans and if you have the means to pay, make your payment, because every dollar that you make payments right now is going straight to the principal balance, which means that you'll save time and also interest that you will pay on student loans. Now, the other item that's not on the package is a stimulus check, the $1,200 stimulus check that everyone's been waiting for and everyone wants right now. President Trump wants this, the Democrat senators and lawmakers want this, the Republicans want this, everyone wants the stimulus check. Now, the reason why I believe that the direct payment of $1,200 check is not included in the skinny bill is because the Republicans are using it as a negotiation piece with the Democrats so that they can pass this. I mean, just think about this for a second, right? The Democrats are saying, well, there's no direct payment, we're not going to pass this, but the Republicans can come back and say, hey, listen, what if we did add a direct payment into the skinny bill? Will you pass the skinny bill in the House? And that might be the concession that the Democrats want to get this skinny bill passed. And ultimately, we may see the $1,200 direct payment into our bank account if the skinny bill can be passed. Another item that's not in the package is state and local funding and no eviction ban, but of course the CDC eviction ban is in place. So the CDC eviction ban doesn't cover all tenants. In fact, we have a separate video we made about who is covered, who's not covered. I'll point that video to right here so you can go check that out. So this is not a universal eviction ban. It is only for select tenants. Only few tenants can be covered and protected by the CDC's eviction ban. Now, that is all the updates I have for you as far as the new skinny bill that's proposed by the Senate Republican side, and we'll have more updates for you guys. And of course, Senate is in session, but the House is not, and they will be in session starting September 14th, which is right after the Senate is done and they're back in recess. Now, it's really important that we get some sort of stimulus package passed either this month or the next, because when the election comes in, that's it. It's going to be harder for a stimulus package talk to resume. So this month or the next could be the last chance for any sort of stimulus package to be talked about, at least in 2020. So lots to cover and lots of important updates down the road. So definitely stay tuned. Now, moving over to the larger stimulus proposal talk right now. The GOP, the Republican side, wants a $1.3 trillion stimulus package, and that's the highest that they're ever wanting to go. But Nancy Pelosi wants $2.5 trillion, and some news source says $2.2 trillion. So anywhere between $2.2 to $2.5 trillion. There's approximately a $1 trillion gap right now. Now, the main difference right now pretty much comes down to the state and local funding, which is about $900 billion. So that's the disagreement between the Republican side negotiators and the Democrat side negotiator. Is it pretty much comes down to state and local funding of $900 billion. If the Democrats say, hey, you know what, forget about the state and local funding, we're totally okay with that, then we may see the $1.3 trillion number for the larger stimulus package. If, of course, the Democrat side says, you know what, there has to be a state and local funding, and that's the way we were going to do it, and the Republicans give in, then the next stimulus package may just be $2.3 trillion for the larger stimulus package. So that's what's happening right now with the larger stimulus package. We'll cover the negotiation process right now. What's the result? What are the new updates? And we'll give you guys that in our update series. Now, let's go and talk about the unemployment check news update. But first, I want to talk to you guys about our book. If you guys have not gotten the book yet, this book is absolutely free. And for those who are wondering, what is this book even about? Well, if you have any interest in wanting to invest in real estate, maybe you want to fix and flip homes, or you want to buy rental properties so that you have tenants paying you rent. Well, my brother and I were able to buy 75 rental units in just 1 year as college kids without using our own money or credit. And inside this book, 292 pages, we've included all of our strategies, tactics, secrets, and all the things inside knowledge to give you guys the tools so that you guys can go and start buying your own rental properties. Now, the best part is this book is absolutely free. All you have to do is pay for shipping, and we'll get it shipped out to you as soon as possible. So you can go and grab this copy down below at 0to75units.com. Again, it's at 0to75units.com. Go and grab a free copy today. We'll get it out to you guys for just $10 a shipping fee. That's all it is, and we'll get it out to you guys as soon as possible. So let's go and talk about the unemployment check news update. Right now, DC, Guam, and Kansas have now been approved for the funding of $300 a week of unemployment check. So DC, Guam, Kansas are now approved for funding by FEMA, and they can expect to receive payments in short few weeks. California has been approved for 2 additional weeks, which is a total of 5 weeks at the amount of $1,500 that individuals will get. The state of New York is updating their computer system and has not issued a timeline yet as far as when they're going to start paying out the $300 a week of the unemployment check. No update on our home state, Illinois payment yet, but payments will last for about 3 weeks. Florida will issue payments sometime this week for 3 weeks as well. So for our Florida residents, expect your payments this week. Now, of course, the wild card that can change everything right now with our update is the government shutdown. Something that I covered Monday is that the government budget has to get passed by the end of this month. If there is no government budget, then we can expect to see a government shutdown beginning of October, which throws a massive wild card and a terrible situation when it comes to stimulus package negotiation, because obviously if the government shuts down, then no one that's a federal employee will get paid, and none of the politicians are getting paid. But of course, it sounds like they're going to reach a rather quick agreement when it comes to the government funding and budget for the next fiscal year starting in October 2020. And of course, we got the election, which always makes things interesting and dramatic when it comes to any sort of bill or stimulus package talk. So again, a lot of these things can change the outcome of how stimulus packages are presented and passed within the next few weeks. So a lot of interesting developments are happening right now. So what that means is you have to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon, because you definitely don't want to miss out on any of the updates that we're providing. So stay tuned. We're releasing updates every night as far as what's happening with the stimulus package and how soon can you get your $1,200 check with the next stimulus package. So with that being said, that's all the updates I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys tomorrow night with new updates. Stay tuned and stay healthy.